Okay, well, are you guys ready to go into topic number one?
First, I need to tell Julia Rose in the chat that yes, you need to buy Zatanna. Don't think twice, just order it.
Oh, there it is right there. I'm having a Zatanna dilemma. Do I get her? Do I not? I have a feeling I know everyone will say, yeah, absolutely. I mean, I don't have it personally, but everything I've seen on her, it's gorgeous. Such a unique, there it is up there up top.
She's awesome. I love her.
Beautiful statue. Yeah, I don't think you can go wrong. Obviously, she's not poison ivy though, Julia, but I think you can make an exception for her, don't you think? I think so. So we've got about 160 people watching right now. Thank you guys so very much. If we get to 250 tonight, if we get to 250, guaranteed pre-order, guaranteed live pre-order for me. So we'll see. We'll see. All right, let's go into topic number one. Topic one is called Sideshow Disappoints. Why are companies not coming to San Diego Comic-Con? So I did a video on this the other day where we got a word. I know Jeff did it was funny. We were talking about how similar our videos were, and we hadn't seen each other's videos. It was really funny.
Yeah.
But, just how like-minded we are. But anyway, we both talked about the fact that, we got word that there was an exhibitor map and that Sideshow is not on it. We had confirmation that they weren't on it, and they were going to lease out their space this year. I did just for you guys that are watching, I did confirm with Chad at Tweeterhead. Tweeterhead's going to be there for sure. It's looking like Queen Studios will be there for sure. And I know that John's going to be there as well. So I'm excited to meet him for the very first time. That'll be awesome. That is who I've confirmed with thus far. I would assume that Iron Studios will be there. Probably PCS. So again, reaching out to those, try to get the information out to everybody as soon as I can. So statue companies will still be represented. I know I'll still be out there. I know Jeff will be out there as well. We're trying to pull teeth to get Dan and Eric out there, but I don't think it's going to happen. But it would be awesome to see it. But it is a big hole that Sideshow's not there. And, we speculated that, the cost of the event and things like that were the reason why Sideshow is not going to be there. Just travel expenses, and they've let a lot of their talent go, although there's somebody new now doing the unboxing videos. I don't know who that guy is, but anyway, we were definitely going to miss Sideshow being there. Then today, Sideshow posted a rather lengthy little blurb, and they also announced officially Sideshow Con, which we did expect, is going to return July 18th. And that is going to be a complete virtual event. So that is what that is. So anyway, I wanted to read this statement from Sideshow today. So I do apologize. This is what it looks like right there. So anyway, I will read this for you. And then I want to pick your thoughts about this, guys. Okay. As the annual convention season gears up in San Diego, pop culture Titan Sideshow is announcing a change in tradition for the first time in over 2 decades. That's right, over 20 years, guys. Sideshow will not be attending or exhibiting at the San Diego Comic-Con. While bidding farewell to the familiar might surprise some, forging new trails to connect with fans has always been an integral part of Sideshow's mission. This evolution forms part of Sideshow's ongoing strategy to engage with the growing global collector community by transitioning its unforgettable showcase to the digital realm, which they've done multiple times during the pandemic. Sideshow CEO Greg explains, for more than 20 years, Sideshow has revealed that the ever-evolving spectacle of San Diego Comic-Con, as we've transformed from a humble booth into a gallery-style showstopper, we've enjoyed sharing the magic of pop culture with fans at every event, except for now. But we've always dreamed of transcending the physical limitations of the convention, reaching out to a global audience hungry for more. As convention attendance prices and travel costs grow, accommodations become increasingly expensive, and con passes become even harder to acquire, large-scale conventions have become experience-only accessible to a small percentage of the fan base. Isn't it like 200,000 people? Unintentionally leaving a large portion of global pop culture enthusiasts underserved. I can go on and on. Sideshow has been honored to be part of the history of San Diego Comic-Con as it has grown from a comic book focused event to a movie and pop culture fueled show. However, Sideshow now looks to concentrate its efforts on creating virtual experiences for its expanding global community of pop culture enthusiasts. Gentlemen, let's broaden our minds. Lawrence? Sorry, 89 all night.
It's a very long explanation of them just saying, hey, listen, we're just doing online cons for now.
Yeah, it's too expensive. We're not going to spend the money. What do you guys think? Let's talk about this topic because, again, it's quite interesting.
I think it's short-sighted savings on the front end and ignoring the 125,000 to 200,000 eyeballs that could be on their product that this hobby depends on. We have a hobby of collectors who run out of room and run out of money fairly quickly. And for a company like Sideshow to prosper, they need new customers all the time. And when you've got that kind of concentration of nerd culture, whatever you want to call it, but the exact sort of person that's a prime Sideshow customer, and you ignore them, I think it's extremely short-sighted, and they're going to get bitten in the back end when they don't get those new customers that they need to continue to make money.
Yeah, especially with all these newer companies coming up, I think they're getting a little too comfortable, and they should remain in the term of, hungry and looking for business, and they should make an appearance. Because if they're not, there's going to be other companies there doing it.
They could cut their booth in half, their staff in half, save a ton of money, because when you go to Sideshow's booth in San Diego, half of the stuff is stuff that's already either in stock or already exhibited somewhere. They could only show the new stuff that's never been exhibited before in a much smaller space, save a lot of money. This digital thing they're talking about, they were already doing that. We already had Sideshow Con the last several years. But to have this in-person event, I don't know how you guys started with Sideshow, but for me, it was San Diego. No one who isn't already a Sideshow customer is going to attend Sideshow Con.
Yeah.
For me,
yeah.
For me, it was not seeing it in person, but I found Sideshow through the San Diego Comic-Con videos,
right, on
YouTube. It's like, what is this? Like, what are these?
Yeah, and
doing those booth tours.
I had the same experience. For me, I found Sideshow through Googling statues, but I saw the price and I was like, no way, because I never seen one in person. But once I saw it in person at New York Comic-Con, I was like, oh, now I get it. I see the size. I see what it looks like. And I even tried to pre-order it the same day. Well, actually buy it the same day. And they were like, no, you have to pre-order it. So yeah, seeing it in person makes a huge difference for new customers. Just really quick though. So I want to go touch on a subject. So I'm curious how well their online presence does do compared to, physically being there. So what's the attendance at San Diego? About 125, 150?
I think so.
I think so.
Okay. Because Chris, you made a post on your Facebook group saying, well, hey, look, my video got 211,000 views, but their attendance is only about 125 physically at San Diego. So actually they're getting more online views than they are physical views if they were setting up. So I'm not sure how their actual website, or their online streaming does compared to your channel, which got a lot of views, but maybe they're seeing better results through the online streaming.
I think, Eric, you're hitting on something. I think they're not seeing what they're not seeing, or maybe haven't seen, or can't mathematically put together, is a direct correlation between revenue and their participation in San Diego, right? Because I think it's a longer, slower burn. I think it's certainly the eyeballs on their product. I told my wife this the other night when this all started happening over the past couple of days. I told her, and she's like, "Oh my God, you got to see those statues, or people aren't gonna, fall in love with them like you have." And so I think there's that. But then there's I don't know how they're looking at social media, but how many YouTube videos do creators publish from San Diego Comic-Con that feature Sideshow? Holy crap. It's a lot, but it's a slow burn. A lot of times with statue collectors, even us, right? We sit and hem and haw and think about pieces and talk to people on, Facebook and Instagram and wherever. It's a slow burn. And I think, Jeff, you're right. I think it's cyclical too. We probably only have maybe 2 cycles of statue collectors since Sideshows and since they really got heavy into statues, say 2010, 2012, 2013, right? When they really started to take off. How many generations of, they don't have many. We might be in our second one. Like, what's the average lifespan of a customer for them? 5-6 years, right? So I think we're the anomaly guys that hang in, for over the long haul.
Right.
But I think I agree with you, Jeff. I think it's really short-sighted. I don't know if they're considering the impact that has just eyeballs on their product in so many ways. Foolish.
I agree. I think they're seeing these, maybe online numbers are higher right now, but like I said, they're not making that physical appearance. Other new companies are, such as Queen Studios and whoever else is going to show up, and they're going to get the attention of the new customers while Sideshow's not there. So
exactly.
And the other thing you have to remember is, just because, you've got a video from last year, Chris, that has, you said 220,000 views.
Yep.
What's the average duration, though, that someone watches that video?
A long time.
Right? A long time.
Is it? Because very often I'll have like a 12-minute video where they'll watch it for 5 minutes.
Yeah. Right.
So you're not necessarily watching, those 220,000 are not necessarily watching the entire video.
Well, that's true. I mean, that is true.
And you can't always assume it's 200,000 physical people. A lot of it's like robots and whatever, to where San Diego, they're real people. They have an attendance sheet of who's going. So
and when I've watched Art's Hulk video a dozen times.
Yeah.
Sure.
So
Right.
a lot of that goes on too.
That's right. Having experienced San Diego for the very first time, and thank God I went when I did, because I would have kicked myself if I, didn't, to at least experience that one time. How many people, and I know Jeff and I had talked about it, like just how many people were the casual person strolling in that loved the statues and had never collected before. Like, I remember people talking about how much they loved that Harley with the ice cream. It's like, a lot of us nitpick it, but like just casual people, like, oh, look at this. Like, this is awesome. Now, whether they went home and bought it, I don't know, but at least it started that conversation.
Yeah.
I bought the Dark Knight Returns on the Lightning Bolt because I saw it in person. I probably would not have bought it otherwise. I've had a ton of collectors reach out to me and said that the exact same thing. Like, I bought because I saw it in person.
Yeah.
And
or I saw a YouTuber's video of it.
Right.
And got a collector's perspective rather than a Sideshow perspective.
And that's one thing they might not be realizing, because when you go to, their Comic-Con, they're usually showing new products, which is a pre-order. So, for example, for me, I went to, New York Comic-Con and I wanted to buy it, and I didn't realize you had to pre-order it. But I did go home and start ordering older pieces already in stock. So now they don't know I did that, but it did bring in a new customer ordering older pieces and made a long-term customer out of myself.
Right.
So they might be showing up at a convention and saying, well, we're not making any new sales, but it could be selling, somebody could be saying what happened to me, go home and ordering older pieces and, continuing to be a long-term customer from that experience. I
mean, really what it's always been is a commercial. I mean, it's always been a commercial to say, hey, this is our stuff. Look at the great stuff we have.
Yeah.
Would it be different if they sold live at the show? They had order forms and they helped people out order online,
that's what I'm thinking might be helpful
have
too.
some laptops out there or something,
I've wondered forever why they haven't done that.
Yeah.
And offer show incentives. Maybe you get 5% back in Sideshow rewards if you order on site at the show.
Absolutely.
And
I don't know why they wouldn't want to do that. And it would also give them analytics to say this is, worth it or not.
Yeah.
Because again, right now they have no idea who saw what and what they bought because of what they saw.
Yeah. They should be advertising their older stock inventory as well. Like I said, like I showed up and I wanted to buy the Spider-Man PF, and they said no, you have to pre-order it. And I was like, I'm not waiting a year to pre-order something. I mean, I did when I eventually went home, but I went home and bought older pieces. I would assume if they had an inventory or items on display of older pieces, they could probably sell them on site.
Jeff, you mentioned that you've watched Art's Hulk video 12, 14 times or whatever.
Mm-hmm.
We do that all the time, right? We watch videos over and over again. We go back, a year later and say, oh, this is really fun to watch. Like, I watch old Prime 1 tours from Japan from 6 years ago or whatever. It's like, I still like to watch those. So let's say that you take my one video, 211, whatever it is, K, and let's say that there's 100 other YouTubers that have also filmed footage. Jeff did a room tour. I mean, a booth tour. Jim Mint did a booth tour.
Mm-hmm.
George from MCE did a booth tour. Like everybody that has a YouTube channel that does statue collecting that was there filmed tours. Okay. So that's just, you take mine, you take everybody else's. That is a lot of videos with multiple viewings.
Yeah.
So now you're taking all of that free publicity and shrinking it down to just people that happen to catch their stream on their YouTube channel.
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
It doesn't make any sense to me.
My 2019 booth tour has 2 million views.
Wow.
That's a lot of freaking views. So you're telling me that you're going to give that up? I don't understand it. It doesn't make any sense to me. Now, I get that there is travel expenses, but God, pay for a hotel room. It's like, it's not that much, but
we'll do it differently. You know what I mean? Like, it seems like a very non-creative way to address a cost-cutting measure. You can cut the space in half, cut your staff at least in half, right? Then maybe look to the other ideas, selling at the show, taking purchase and offset. You can directly offset costs by doing that, right? You can say, okay, if we normally spend $200,000 for our floor space at San Diego, we're going to spend $100,000 and we're going to target 50K in sales, right? And you can work your way down into mitigating the risk of your point, and well, all of our point really of not being there. You still get all of the benefit that we've all been talking about that they're missing out on, and still your costs way back. And oh, by the way, maybe even see a boost in eyeballs all the way around because Sideshow's doing something new at San Diego, right? Play up that,
right?
What's hysterical about that press release is this idea that for a company, it's bad to attend a convention that can only be attended by people who can afford that kind of show.
It's true.
Isn't it good to have people who can afford your product?
Yeah, I was going to say, who's buying these products?
Yeah. I mean, come on. I laughed out loud when I read
Sorry,
that.
all you poor collectors out there. You can't buy our stuff. Sorry about that. Okay, Kay's, here's a question. Imagine if they did things like invite big collectors, artists, YouTubers, etc., to their con to cover it. Would it be much cheaper than Sideshow or San Diego Comic-Con, but would feel more engaging to the community? I will tell you why. And they said it in their press release. They said that they want to be able to control the environment with lighting and the narrative, right? So they are going to do their own tour with their own narrative. There won't be any negatives, obviously, and again, that's their business. They're a business. They want to sell this stuff.
But that's not social media.
But that is not real social media. It's not. And like I would assume Jim's going to be there. Because he's done all of them. He's got a really big reach. But I would love to see Sideshow invite YouTubers big and small to cover the event. Maybe invite people that are, not negative all the time. I guess I could see them wanting to control that. That makes sense. But also, you also want real feedback. You want real information. And I don't know. I just feel like because we already have like You know, like I already have a built-in audience. Jeff already has a built-in audience. George and Jim and like all, you know, everybody that's out there has their own audience, and there you can put your own spin on it. But I do think it's a big missed opportunity, but also I don't ever see that happening because I think they want to control what is said, you know, and what people think. I don't know. What do you guys think about that? Do you feel like I'm on the money or not?
Yeah. I mean, like you said, it's in the press release. That doesn't mean, who knows? Maybe some of us will get invited. Who knows? But the thing that strikes me is when I read that press release and when I think about the real reasons this is happening, we talked about this a little bit in our private chat today. I don't understand why they don't do WonderCon. They would not have to have a single hotel room. It's right around the corner from them. Take their top 20 items they want to promote, throw them in a van or U-Haul, and bring them to Anaheim. I mean, the cost would be a fraction of San Diego. It would still get a ton of exposure. It would still get a lot of YouTubers. You know, there are ways to cut costs without saying we're doing everything online from now on. That seems super short-sighted to me, not looking long-term at all, and a frustration for everyone.
Let's look at the other side of the coin here and what I feel like is really going on. And that is actually, I'm going to spoil my video from this week, but I have a video coming out called The State of Statue Collecting. Do you feel like that's what this really is that everybody's hurting? And I really do think that. I think that everybody's scrambling. Again, I've had a lot of conversations with statue companies behind the scenes, and there's not a lot of really great positives in terms of sales, like what people are buying. Certainly, sales of like comic book characters are down worldwide, where a lot of anime and other things are skyrocketing. You know, they're doing really well. But do you guys think that that's really what this is just that sales are down? They don't want to spend the money. It's cost saving measures. People are leaving or being let go, cost, saving measures, because the writing's been on the wall for some time with the economy, shipping costs. What do you guys think?
Well, if you do the research, so we're in mid-May. Sideshow has put 7 premium formats up for pre-order so far this year. 3 Marvel, 3 DC, and the Clint Eastwood one. All 3 Marvel are Spider-Man. I don't mean Spider-Man characters. They're all Spider-Man. They're Spider-Man Noir, the Spider-Man with the Force Perspective base, and the Iron Spider. That's it for Marvel the whole year so far. The 3 DC pieces are all Batman family. Penguin, Ivy, and Batman on bike. That's about as safe as you can get.
Yep.
As far as your product.
Yep.
To me, that's a sign that they're being more careful than they've ever been before.
What do you think, Dan?
Yeah, I think it's a big part of it. I think it's almost, as I was thinking about this going into the show today, I was thinking, it's almost a perfect storm of factors, right? You've got not only the, any specific economy, but you've got the global economy suffering. You've got global political issues that are affecting those economies that make people more, timid about spending in general. You've got, inflation just kind of rampant, right? So that's causing potential employment issues, et cetera. It just, so the economic factors are significant. And then on top of that, this is actually something I've contended for a while. I think the MCU was kind of that tide that lifted all boats when it came to things pop culture.
Because it was hot.
It was hot, man. You couldn't get, there was at least 1 movie a year for a dozen years,
And they were all good. They were all
good. And so superhero was huge. And gaming was huge. You've had gamers getting older. I'm not sure if they're collecting anymore or as much. And I think the lack of an MCU, that kind of constant superhero buzz and just the culture period, I think it hurts. I think it hurts collecting, statue collecting anyways, but.
I can't remember when we talked about this. Maybe it was on the live show the other night. I can't remember, but I also, like, my kids don't collect statues.
Yeah.
It's like they have interests. My son collects shoes. Ledger collects guitars. But it's few and far between. They don't really collect stuff. They're just busy. They're on their phone doing TikTok, whatever.
Yeah.
I worry about that generation not really being collectors like we are. I feel like our age group is the primary collectors, and our age group is typically probably has the funds in order to afford this stuff.
Yeah.
When I was in college, when I was in my 20s or early 30s, I would never have been able to get any of this stuff.
Me neither. No, me neither.
So, although that age group might want to collect, they probably have other interests.
Look at all these kids collecting Pokemon cards. So
yeah, I mean, or things that are maybe like, a little bit more affordable. I don't know. Like, again, like I collected here and there, but it was cheap stuff. It was not high end.
Yeah.
I mean, I still remember my very first big purchase was that DC premium, whatever it was, where Batman was walking up the Batcave steps from DC Direct. And that was $350. And when we were discussing whether to buy it, we couldn't even fathom spending that much. And, now it's not even a blink in my eye now. It's like but, well, anyway, go ahead.
If I just go back to the convention thing. So here's the thing. All right. So obviously the major companies are definitely hurting in sales. The whole world is hurting in sales everywhere. I can't speak for San Diego because I've never been there. So the only other big convention I've been to is New York. So while Sideshow is not showing up, there are other statue vendors there selling older pieces that continue to be there every year. And obviously they must be making money if they're still renting every year selling statues. So it goes back to the point. Maybe Sideshow should be advertising pieces that are in stock and trying to make sales on pieces in stock instead of trying to just promote newer stuff and pre-orders. So
I will say this, that I don't remember very many booths at San Diego, at least, where they had booths selling statues. But I do think this would be a good opportunity for someone to put a bunch out, with that lack of knowing that they're not going to be there and saying, hey, this is an opportunity to sell some of this stuff because people might be interested.
With the exception of, the other thing that comes to mind is innovation, right? So with the exception of quality definitely improving over the years, even in my time collecting statues, which is just about 11 years now, quality has definitely improved, right? The detail has definitely improved. Materials seem to have improved, et cetera, across the board, no question. But innovation as to what these things are has not really changed for me. Like just thinking differently, maybe, is it connecting bases, right? I think we've talked about that, off and on for years, just at certain points. What about being able to put these things together or just do it differently, But yeah, Jim, absolutely. Yeah.
This great idea from Jim talking about innovation, talking about technology. I mean, God, how old are QR codes? Put a QR code to link it directly. You can get information, you can get price point, whatever information you need. I think that's really smart. Another thing that I wanted to bring up, and somebody posted earlier, is I had a conversation. I'm not going to say who with today, but we were talking about the statue industry. This was a company I was talking to, and they said part of the major problem, and they are also to blame, is major oversaturation. There's just so many characters. There's so many of the same, which is great. We've been preaching variety is great for the collector, but also the oversaturation is somewhat killing the market.
Yeah.
And so that's another part of this. And clearly, again, having these conversations, people are not buying the same way they were 3 or 4 years ago. I know for a fact that we are going to be seeing less superhero characters from some companies because, again, they are just not selling. So there's going to be a really big dry spell. Some companies I know are going full force on the superhero characters. Companies like, Tweeterhead, companies like Legendary Beast, I know. So it's going to upset some customers there too, because if you're a collector of DC and now all of a sudden we're going to get a whole lot less of pieces coming out, well, that sucks. But I also think that just like anything, hopefully we'll ride this storm out and it'll all come back. Because I was asking about the likelihood of certain characters coming out, and basically they said right now, 0 chance. 0 chance. So
I think companies, and maybe they just need to readjust their expectations. One of the great things about Legendary Beast is that Jay has said, I need 400 customers for each piece. That's all I need, 400. So I don't imagine some of the bigger companies being content with that. Maybe they will be, maybe they won't. But if you can go into a project with that low threshold, you've got a much better opportunity for success, I think.
Well, and I think, I feel like Sideshow's been the king of the mountain for a really long time. And they were probably making some pretty good money, I would at least hope. And then when you start making less and you don't adjust or you adjust late, I don't know, you get used to the good times,
Yeah.
And so the bad times can be a struggle. I don't know where I was going with that, but who knows? Anything else?
We don't know what's going on behind the scenes. I mean, Sideshow could be watching this saying, these guys haven't a clue what's really happening with us.
Absolutely.
Yeah, but I think that it shouldn't be an all or nothing proposition. There should have been a scaled down option, even if it wasn't in San Diego. I think it's a big mistake not to allow new eyeballs on your product.
I do too. And again, maybe they have analytics that say otherwise.
Mm-hmm.
But I mean, again, just as simple as a QR code that links it to your product, like that's smart. Like why not do that and then get analytics? Like why not do that this year? And then next year say, hey, you know what? We sold 12 statues out of that entire event. It's not worth our time.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Now you have a conversation. But again, I just can't imagine 150,000 people, potential customers, but maybe they just feel like even that is not enough to make a dent for them. I don't know.
See, what I don't understand is like going back to Jeff's point, kind of like this isn't nothing new. We're slowly seeing a decline with Sideshow. Like even last year, we were saying what's going on with Sideshow. Are they just turning into a distributor for other companies? And that actually, I think, would be a good idea. And I think they did that last year at San Diego Comic-Con, to where they didn't just come with their products. They had Prime One products, other companies' products. So why not, if they are teaming up with other companies, at least distributing for them, set up a booth with other companies, all chip in and set up one big booth and, do something for the fans at least.
And that's another bad, since you brought that up. So like I had another conversation this week with Prime One. Prime One will not be at San Diego. Okay. They will not be represented. So they won't be represented. I would assume Pure Arts won't be represented there. I would assume Hot Toys won't be represented there. And they had a major part of that booth.
Yeah. So
you look at some of those products. I can't remember. I think even PCS had some pieces there in that booth.
So I don't get it. They're this big distributor of all these other smaller companies, yet they can't form together to bring us one booth with everybody's products.
Well, in past years, Sideshow has had, there was one year, maybe it was 2019, where they had like a dozen Prime One pieces. They had a huge area for Iron Studios. I mean, it really was, of course, Hot Toys. There were a lot of companies in that one Sideshow space. So yeah, they've done that before.
Okay.
But I don't know. Now Iron Studios has broken off and do their own booth, which was great last year. That was a fantastic booth. But as I've mentioned to you guys, it's not just Sideshow, Weta. And I had forgotten, Weta wasn't there last year either. So this is their second year that they're not in San Diego. but they always had a very large booth with lots of great Lord of the Rings pieces.
Sorry, guys, I'm back.
Didn't even know you were gone.
Oh, there. Hold on. I didn't know if there's like complete silence or not. There.
No, I
Only
was just
Denver.
mentioning that I'd come to the realization that Weta actually wasn't there last year. So this is their second year that they haven't been in San Diego.
I got a $5 super chat here from Ryan E. Agree with Jeff Delaney. I mean, even if they had a scaled down booth with just 10 new statues, we'd be pretty excited.
Yeah.
Thank you very much for the super chat. And you're exactly right on the money. It's like, I always wanted to do New York as well. And I finally booked that trip. And of course, Sideshow wasn't there. I still had a great time. Of course, I got to meet Eric for the very first time. So that was fantastic, and other collectors as well. But, I always thought that I was always told, that's a really small booth. They, have however many pieces they have on display there. They could absolutely still do that at San Diego. Again, put the Penguin out there, put, whatever, put
Spider-Man Noir.
Yeah, just any of those pieces that are not sold out yet. I can understand if they didn't want to bring a bunch of pieces that are already on wait list or sold out or whatever. Or, you don't have to have a ton of your old pieces. Yep. Just a small booth. I mean, think of what Tweeterhead had. Tweeterhead leases a portion of Sideshow's booth. And so it's a, kind of a small little narrow area, but what did they have? Like, 20 statues there on display.
Least. Yeah.
And it's like, it didn't need to be a giant booth. It literally was a U shape where people went in and out. Follow the U.
And they share that with Olivia.
Right. And so it still had a big impact because people were able to maybe discover Tweeterhead for the very first time, or maybe discover Prime 1 for the first time. I know how many people were oohing and ahhing over those pieces.
Mm-hmm.
And again, having people not be able to see that and just again have that that narrow focus of people that are just going to watch Sideshow Con on YouTube or through their social media, and again, I don't even know how that's going to go because I keep seeing on their page where they keep having this live show and then they don't do it.
Yeah.
I've seen that like probably 12 times and I don't know like what's going on with that. Again, like that's going to alienate those collectors that are, it's interesting. It just makes me think that that things are not going so great.
Last year, they went all out. Sideshow did a 9-day Sideshow Con and then 5 days at the convention. They had a 2-week San Diego event last year.
It was crazy.
This year, Sideshow Con is 4 days.
Yeah.
They're really trimming down, which is probably a good thing.
Yeah, that's better.
It was long. It was too long.
And it's cool that they're not doing it during the convention. It's the 4 days leading up to the show.
Because that's what people were complaining. I don't know if they looked at the dates, but they were saying, it's like, talk about alienating your fans by not spending the money to go. They were like, well, how are we supposed to watch the event while we're at San Diego Comic-Con? No. So like people were throwing that back at them, but I think it doesn't line up the same. So
that's interesting you said that, because now that does beat everybody else to the punch that they're airing their convention a little bit earlier than the physical convention where the other companies are going to be there.
Right.
So I don't know. We could beat a dead horse here, but I'm still shocked by it. I get it. If times are rough and they're trying to save money, it makes sense because I've heard the booth fees are astronomical. And again, they still have the booth.
Yeah.
So they're not letting go of the booth. They're not like we're out. They're leasing the booth space. I think it's a great opportunity for somebody to step in. That's why I was hoping like Prime 1 or somebody would say, hey, we'll take a quarter of that booth. But again, the logistics of doing that would not be easy since they're based out of Japan. But again, I'm really excited that we're still having some statue representation. I don't know about Iron Studios. I would assume that they're going to be there because they had that massive corner last year. Again, Tweeterhead's going to be there for sure. Queen Studio should be there. PCS is going to have a booth. And who knows who else might show up.
Hopefully Tweeterhead won't be negatively affected because it was so great. They were able to feed off each other, Sideshow and Tweeterhead right next to each other. Yeah. And now they won't have that.
Yeah.
Hey, Chris, look at Brendan Riley's comment. I think it's like 4 or 5 comments back. Yeah, that one.
All right, let me read it. Cons are a special experience. As anyone who has been to one will attest, Sideshow is underestimating how that experience will impact collector purchasing decisions.
Yep.
think that's really well said. The whole special experience, it really is. You can't describe it unless you're there.
But that could also be both good and bad. You could think you like a statue and then go see it in person and find out you don't like it. So
that's true.
It doesn't normally happen that way, but because you don't get the sense of size online as much as you do in person.
Yeah, I think most of the time we will agree things look better in person.
Yeah.
So Colin is saying that Sideshow Con is the 18th to the 21st. San Diego Comic-Con runs 18th to the 23rd. So let me double check that. So it does return. Sideshow Con does return July 18th. So what night's preview night, Jeff?
I'm not sure now. Let's see here.
Well, I think it would be smart if they did it a little bit earlier. Like I said, they could beat the punch to the other companies advertising their stuff.
16. Oh,
is it the same?
Preview night's the 19th.
Yeah, 19th. So it's the same time. So people were right. So that they were pissed off because they're like, well, how are we supposed to watch? Well, we're at the show and then we're going to miss out. So I don't know. It's frustrating. Again, I'm sure. Again, we speculate. We don't know. But we've been around the game long enough to kind of have a pretty good feel. And again, I talked to so many other companies that I know everybody's hurting. And so I can absolutely see that that's a cost cutting measure. And it does take a lot of work, but at the same time, well, I don't know. It's just disappointing. We got Jetta Patrol in here. He says, Devil's Advocate Sideshow missing San Diego Comic-Con will have zero impact on any collecting decisions. I mean, to some collectors it might.
And I think sometimes maybe they get in over their head and maybe they're purchasing too much space. Because I'll go back real quick to the last time Sideshow was at New York Comic-Con. It might have been like 2019 or whatever year it was. XM Studios was also there through GFX. It was the first time XM was there. They had a massive display. XM, way nicer than Sideshow's, much more roomier. They had every single samurai piece on display, the giant Godzilla pieces on display. And I spoke to GFX, and they were even running specials. If you buy the Joker, you get Batman on a discount. And they straight up told me, they said, we're not doing good with sales this year. And this is just their first time there, and they've never been back since. So
wow.
That's something.
Chris, that comment you just talked about from Jetta Patrol, aren't you and I examples of that not being true?
Right, and that's why that's what he's saying. He's devil's advocate. Yeah. That's what I was just going to say. Like, for me, I made a purchase because of what I saw, and I wasn't going to get it otherwise.
Me too.
And again, I've heard from countless collectors this last week since the announcement was made, or since we did these videos, that. Yeah, people bought because of what they saw. They were impressed with it in person.
And I just reminded myself really quick of another piece I purchased because at a convention, the XM Sanity. I seeing pictures online, I was like, no way in hell I'm paying that much money for a statue. Mm-hmm. Went to the convention with my family. My wife fell in love with it. My daughter loved it. And she was like, purchase it. I was like, yeah, it does look really great in person. I went home and purchased it. And that's a big, expensive piece. So
yeah, absolutely.
It does help to see it in person. And it does, can make sales like that.
I bought into Samurai because of seeing them at 2019 New York Comic-Con. I saw Harley Quinn there and I saw Robin there. Both amazing pieces. Would not have bought them otherwise. Would not have imagined how good they are just by seeing them in video or in pictures.
And I was influenced by a YouTuber named Dan Default.
Exactly.
And that again, that does show the power of YouTube channels like this one, Secret Sanctuary, whoever, that it's a giant missed opportunity because we're putting so much content out there. You look at Disney, they have to promote so much less in their advertising because they have daily live streams. They have daily people that pump out videos promoting their parks.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
I watch them daily. It makes me want to go back daily. And so the power of social media, the power of the YouTube community, especially when you have a very small niche market, Disney has 1 million eyes on their product. How many eyes do statues have?
Mm-hmm.
We help. We help with that. I mean, there's no question that we help. I don't even know how, how many people have told me that I bought this because of your review, or I bought it because of your video.
Yeah, based on that press release, there'd be no reason for Disney to have D23 ever.
Right.
Well, that every year in a different part of the world.
Right.
That's
true. Also, that is a commercial for them, but it's also a way to give back to the community. And I feel like Sideshow taking that away from the community, that hurts. It's like, that was like a place where we could all come together. It was like a mecca for us. We think of how many conversations and how many people we met there at that booth, and how many conversations we had about statues. And that was awesome to be able to do that, to be able to meet, like you said in your video, to meet the artists. Like that was a special thing. And now that's also being taken away. So like all of those experiences, yes, you might be able to view it through a screen at their own place, but you can't, those experiences for me were priceless. There are things I'll never forget in my life.
Where else can you stand looking at a Prime One piece and then feel someone tapping you on the back and turn around and it's John Pham?
Right. And that's exactly what happened.
And you can sit there and talk about the piece.
Right. And that was, I mean, again, those experiences were priceless for me.
Yep.
And again, maybe I'm hoping this is just a one-off. I kind of think it probably isn't, but it is disappointing. $20 super chat from Mitchell Green. Thank you very much. That's awesome. On the other side, I started collecting via Sideshow, but I've never seen them in person. Also, I work for a Fortune 100 company, and 80% of our sales start with online search query. Now, Gen marketing is changing, and I'm sure you're right. I'm sure there absolutely is, market research. I mean, Sideshow is I'm going to say overall smart with their decision making. We've questioned some of their business decisions over the years, but thank you again for the super chat.
You also don't want to give up on the 20%.
Right.
I mean, another great super chat for Dan.
Oh, John Blackmouth, $10 super chat. What's Dan eating?
Dan's eating cashews. Whole fancy, lightly salted cashews. Dan's starving and couldn't wait till after the show.
I am so jealous because today's my fasting day, so I haven't been able to eat all day. I had to make dinner for my family and not eat it. That's the worst.
That's tough.
Had made tacos. So like, stop eating the cashews. Dang you. No, I'm just kidding. Anyway, guys, thank you for the super chats. Again, we could talk about this for it's already 7 after the hour. Like, it's like, I can't believe we talked about it this long. You guys want to talk?
Could talk about it all night. No.
Oh my God, he froze.
He's frozen. Oh my God.
Oh no, now we have to continue talking about it.
This is one of his better Frozens, though. The expression is very positive. He's engaged. He's interested in what we're saying.
He's lightly sunburned.
Yeah, exactly. It's a good look for him.
Quick, let's move on to the next topic before he continues with this one.
Let's see. What was the second topic? I can't remember.
Oh,
there he is.
Here I am. Gee, sorry guys. That's 2 for tonight. Of course, that stinks. But anyway, we were trying to wrap it up. Are you guys good with it tonight?
Yeah, it's been an hour and a half.
All right. I'm showing about 220 people watching. We are 30 away from my live pre-order. If you guys get me there, I will definitely pre-order it. I might anyway, but I definitely will if we get to 250. So share this video with everyone. Hey guys, thank you so very much for watching today. And if you're new here, please hit the subscribe button right here on the screen and check out these 2 awesome videos. I think you're going to love them. And also please join us on social media, Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, and TikTok. I would love to have you join in all the fun. Thank you guys so very much for watching. See you in the Batcave.